Hi there. Real quick before we jump into the episode. If you enjoy this episode, or any of the other episodes, be sure to give us a follow or subscribe. It would also be great if you shared it with a friend, or better yet, left a review so others can know how awesome it is. Thanks so much. And now, the episode.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome to the Press Start Leadership Podcast, the podcast about game-changing leadership, teaching you how to get the most out of your product and development team and become the leader you were meant to be. Leadership coaching and training for the international game industry professional. Now, let me introduce you to your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher Mifsud.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome back to another awesome edition of the Press Start Leadership Podcast. On this week's episode, we'll be discussing back to basics, what every new leader in the video game industry should know, and every leader should remember. Rediscover the timeless fundamentals that make great leadership last: communication, empathy, and accountability. Simple truths, powerful results. The return to fundamentals. Leadership in the video game industry is often portrayed as fast, innovative, and cutting edge. But beneath the high-tech tools, ambitious projects, and creative vision lies something timeless: the human element. No matter how advanced our pipelines, how global our studios, or how sophisticated our AI becomes, successful leadership still comes down to a few core principles: communication, empathy, accountability, and adaptability. For new leaders, the learning curve can feel steep. Transitioning from being an individual contributor to leading others requires more than technical excellence. It demands self-awareness, patience, and a willingness to serve your team. For experienced leaders, the challenge often lies in remembering those fundamentals, especially when success, stress, or routine start to dull the edges of curiosity and humility. That is why this podcast focuses on getting back to basics, whether you are stepping into leadership for the first time or reflecting on your 10th project milestone. The foundational truths remain the same. Leadership is not about authority. It is about alignment. It is not about being the loudest voice. It is about creating clarity. It is not about control. It is about trust. In an industry as volatile and creative as ours, where studios rise and fall, and projects can pivot overnight, returning to the basics keeps you grounded. It helps you make better decisions, build stronger teams, and lead with purpose instead of panic. Leadership at its best is simple, but not easy. This is a reminder of what truly matters. Let's go back to where it all begins. The foundation of game leadership. Great leadership in game development does not start with technical expertise. It starts with understanding people. Many new leaders fall into the trap of thinking their job is to know all the answers. In reality, leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room. It is about creating a room where everyone feels safe to contribute their best ideas. The foundation of effective leadership in this industry is built on 5 timeless principles. Communication, clear, consistent, and honest dialogue across all levels. Empathy, understanding and valuing the human behind the skill set. Accountability, taking responsibility, not assigning blame. Clarity, setting expectations that empower rather than confuse. And adaptability, staying flexible in a world that changes faster than release cycles. In a studio environment, these principles are constantly tested. Deadlines tighten, priorities shift, feedback loops get messy, tensions rise between creative ambition and technical reality. But when these fundamentals are strong, your team stays aligned and resilient. When they falter, even the best project plan will crumble under stress. Actionable steps for new leaders in their first 90 days. Listen before leading. Spend your first weeks observing how your team communicates and collaborates before making changes. Define your leadership values. Write down what kind of leader you want to be and share that vision with your team. Establish clarity early. Set expectations for communication, feedback, and goals from the start. Ask for feedback often. Encourage your team to tell you what is working and what is not. Model humility. Show that leadership is a learning process for you too. Strong leadership is not built overnight. It grows from small, consistent actions that reinforce trust and understanding. Communication is everything. If leadership is a game, communication is the primary mechanic. It defines how information flows, how decisions are made, and how trust is built. In a studio setting where developers, artists, producers, and marketers all speak slightly different professional languages, communication can make or break a project. Poor communication leads to missed deadlines, wasted work, and demoralized teams. Great communication, on the other hand, makes even the toughest crunches feel manageable because everyone knows what is happening and why. The 3 layers of communication. Clarity. Say what you mean without hiding behind jargon. Consistency. Keep information aligned across channels such as meetings, chats, documents, and emails. Context. Explain not just what decisions are being made, but why they matter. Leaders often underestimate the power of context. When teams understand the why behind a decision, they feel included and trusted. When they are left in the dark, even good decisions can feel like betrayals. Practical communication habits. Run clear stand-ups. Focus on blockers, progress, and upcoming tasks while avoiding meandering status updates. Hold regular one-on-ones. These are your best tools for understanding individual motivation and morale. Document key decisions. A simple shared note or dashboard prevents confusion later. Model transparency. Share updates on both successes and setbacks. Your honesty sets the tone for the team. Actionable steps to improve communication. Start every meeting with purpose. Clarify why you're meeting and what you need to achieve. Repeat key messages across multiple formats. Some team members absorb information better in writing, others in conversation. Encourage upward communication. Make it safe for juniors to speak truth to leadership. End with alignment. Every conversation should close with clear next steps. Leaders who communicate well do not just give orders. They inspire confidence, even when things go wrong. Empathy and emotional intelligence in leadership. Empathy is not softness, it is strength. In creative industries where emotions fuel innovation, leaders must understand the human element as deeply as the technical one. Empathy builds bridges across disciplines and prevents burnout by keeping people connected and valued. A leader with empathy does not need to be everyone's friend, but they must be everyone's ally. They see beyond deliverables to the person doing the work. The artist frustrated by revisions, the programmer stuck in a loop, the producer juggling priorities. Why emotional intelligence matters. Emotional intelligence helps you recognize and regulate your own stress and reactions. Read the emotional tone of your team. Communicate feedback in a way that motivates instead of deflates. Build trust that survives setbacks. In game development, creativity thrives in psychological safety. When people know they can share ideas without ridicule or fear, the best ideas emerge. Practical empathy in action. Ask, don't assume. Check in with your team about workload and well-being. Learn individual motivations. Understand what drives each person, recognition, challenge, or stability. Handle conflict privately and respectfully. Never shame or surprise someone in a group setting. Practice gratitude. Recognition costs nothing and yields enormous morale returns. Actionable steps to build empathy. Start meetings with a human check-in. Ask how everyone is feeling about the work before diving into tasks. Use active listening. Repeat back what you hear to confirm understanding. Reflect weekly. Ask yourself what your team might need emotionally, not just operationally. Seek empathy feedback. Ask, do you feel heard and supported? And listen to the answer. Empathy turns authority into trust. Trust turns leadership into collaboration. Accountability and integrity, the pillars of trust. In leadership, accountability is not about taking the blame. It is about taking responsibility. It means owning decisions, setting clear expectations, and following through even when it is uncomfortable. Integrity, its twin pillar, is what gives accountability its strength. Together, they form the moral background of effective leadership. Why accountability matters. When leaders deflect responsibility or shift blame, teams lose respect. When leaders own outcomes, good or bad, they model maturity. This kind of integrity builds a culture where people feel safe taking risks, knowing that they will be supported rather than scapegoated. Accountability is also about setting the tone for others. If you expect your team to meet deadlines, communicate clearly, and admit mistakes, you must do the same. Leadership is never do as I say, it is always follow my example. Building a culture of integrity. Follow through on promises. Reliability builds trust faster than charisma ever will. Own your mistakes publicly. When you admit errors, your team learns it is safe to do the same. Protect your people. Take responsibility upward and give credit downward. Prioritize honesty over comfort. Hard truths told early prevent disasters lately. Actionable steps to strengthen accountability. Set clear goals. Ambiguity breeds excuses. Clarity builds ownership. Establish measurable outcomes. Use data to track progress rather than relying on gut feelings. Run regular postmortems. Focus on what was learned, not who was at fault. And lead by example. Admit when you do not have the answer and work collaboratively to find it. Integrity may not make headlines, but it builds legacies. Studios and leaders remembered most fondly are those who stood by their teams when things got hard. Adapting to change without losing focus. Change is the only constant in the video game industry. Technologies evolve, player expectations shift, and global events can upend entire markets overnight. The leaders who survive are not the ones who resist change, but the ones who adapt to it without losing focus. Adaptability is not chaos. It is clarity under pressure. It is knowing what to hold on to and what to let go of. It is steering that ship through stormy seas while keeping your crew confident that the destination still matters. Why adaptability defines leadership. Innovation demands flexibility. Static processes kill creativity. Teams follow calm, not panic. Adaptable leaders model composure under uncertainty. Change reveals character. How you respond under pressure defines your leadership more than success ever will. Adaptability is not about having a perfect plan. It's about responding intelligently when that plan breaks. Staying focused in the face of change. Anchor your team to purpose. Remind them why the project matters. Reassess priorities frequently. What mattered yesterday may not matter today. Communicate transitions clearly. Change feels less chaotic when people understand the reasons behind it. Maintain self-care. You cannot adapt if you are running on empty. Actionable steps to build adaptability. Practice scenario planning. Run what-if exercises to prepare for possible disruptions. Encourage learning agility. Reward people who explore new tools and processes. Reflect after every pivot. What worked? What can we do better next time? Stay grounded in your values. Flexibility is not compromise. It is intelligent alignment. Adaptation without purpose leads to drift. Purpose without flexibility leads to stagnation. The best leaders balance both. Remembering why you lead. At the end of the day, leadership in the video game industry is not about titles, budgets, or metrics. It's about people. Creative, passionate, often quirky individuals who come together to make something greater than themselves. It is about creating environments where art and technology coexist, and where innovation is not crushed by ego or fear. Leadership begins with the purpose and ends with people. When you lose sight of either, you lose your way. The longer you lead, the easier it becomes to get caught in process and pressure. But great leaders pause to ask themselves, why do I do this? That question brings everything into focus. You lead not because you crave control, but because you want to build something meaningful with others. Returning to the basics reminds you that the success is not measured only in sales or reviews, but in the respect and growth of the people who trusted you to lead them. Actionable reflection for leaders. What kind of leader did I want to be when I started, and am I still that person? Do my daily actions reflect my values or just my deadlines? When was the last time I expressed genuine gratitude to my team? What would my team say they learned from working with me? Going back to basics is not regression. It is renewal. It reconnects you to the reason you chose leadership in the first place. Final thoughts. Lead simply, lead strong. The fundamentals of leadership never go out of style because they are what makes every style of leadership work. Communication, empathy, accountability, clarity, and adaptability form the framework that sustains creative studios through chaos and change. For new leaders, mastering these basics builds credibility and confidence. For experienced leaders, revisiting them rekindles purpose and humility. Great leadership is not about knowing everything. It is about continuously practicing the essentials with intention. So, as you step into your next sprint, milestone, or meeting, remember, the greatest leaders in the video game industry are not those who chase every new trend or tool. They are the ones who stay true to the timeless principles that keep teams inspired, focused, and growing together. Back to basics is not a step backward. It's the step that ensures every step forward counts. All right, and that's this week's episode of the Press Start Leadership Podcast. Thanks for listening, and as always, thanks for being awesome.
Oh, hi. And the episode's over, but thanks for sticking around till the end. Be sure to check out more episodes in the playlist and new episodes every week on Monday. Follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave a review. Thanks again for being awesome.